Aside from being the only book preserved on the face of the earth, and if all books in the world were to be burned or thrown away in the sea, it would be the only book that could be brought up again in its written form. How not, when millions of people around the world can memorize the whole of it by heart, without even being able to speak the Arabic language, the thing which makes this book very special. The Quran also contains a lot of scientific proofs and evidence that this book cannot be authored by anyone except by a being who is all-knowing, all-wise. In this regard, here are 7 mind-blowing scientific facts in the Quran that you may have never heard before. 1. The creation of the universe. Do the disbelievers not see that the heavens and the earth were one mass, and we tore them apart? And we made from water every living thing. Will they not believe? According to the Big Bang theory, the most accurate scientific explanation for the origin of the universe, all matter, energy, space and time were concentrated in a hot dense point called a singularity. And this is approximately 13.8 billion years ago. Then, this singularity rapidly expanded, leading to the formation of galaxies, stars, planets, and all known matter in the universe. Isn't it almost the same description provided in the Quran? Not only that, but the Quran goes further than that by considering water to be the origin of life. The thing which is consistent with modern biology. Now we know for fact, after the invention of microscopes, that almost 70% of living organisms' cells are basically water. 2. The movement of mountains. And you see the mountains, and imagine them fixed, yet they pass, as the passing of the clouds, the making of Allah, who has perfected everything. He is fully informed of what you do. From a scientific perspective, the verse in Surah An-Naml, which mentions mountains passing like clouds, it is highlighting the concept of the gradual change and movement that may not be apparent to the casual observer. In terms of the geological aspect, the movement of mountains over geological timescales is indeed a reality. While mountains may appear solid and immovable in human timescales, they are subject to various geological processes such as plate tectonics, erosion, and uplift that shape and change the Earth's surface over millions of years. Plate tectonics is a scientific theory that explains the movement of the Earth's lithosphere. These plates interact with each other, leading to the formation of mountain ranges through processes like collision, subduction, and uplift. Over long periods of time, mountains can rise, erode, and change in shape and form. 3. Wind and pollination. We send the fertilizing winds, and send down water from the sky, and give it to you to drink, and you are not the ones who store it. Wind plays a critical role in the process of fertilization in some plant species. This method of pollination, known as anemophily, relies on the wind to carry pollen from the male reproductive organs of a plant to the female reproductive organs of another plant. Anemophilous plants do not rely on animals or insects for pollination and instead depend on the wind to spread their pollen. The discovery of wind pollination as a method of plant reproduction is a process that evolved over time through observation, experimentation, and scientific investigation. While ancient civilizations may have considered the wind as a factor in the fertilization of certain plants through mainly observation and speculation, the formal scientific understanding of anemophily and its importance in plant reproduction developed later on with the advancement of scientific tools. The development of microscopy and the ability to study pollen grains in detail further contributed to the understanding of how pollen is transported by the wind and how it interacts with plant reproductive organs. Scientists were able to observe and document the process of pollen dispersal and landing on stigmas, leading to successful fertilization. 4. Development of the fetus. We created man from an extract of clay. Then we made him a seed, in a secure repository. Then we developed the seed into a clot. Then we developed the clot into a lump. Then we developed the lump into bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. Then we produced it into another creature. Most blessed is Allah, the best of creators. O people! If you are in doubt about the resurrection, we created you from dust, then from a small drop, then from a clinging clot, then from a lump of flesh, partly developed and partly undeveloped. In order to clarify things for you. And we settle in the wombs whatever we will for a designated term, and then we bring you out as infants. Until you reach your full strength. And some of you will pass away, and some of you will be returned to the vilest age, so that he may not know, after having known. And you see the earth still, but when we send down water on it, it vibrates, and swells, and grows all kinds of lovely pears. The verse from Surat al-Mu'minun the Believers outlines the successive stages of human development from conception to the formation of bones covered with flesh. It reflects the gradual process of embryonic development as understood by modern science. The verses from Surat al-Hajj on the other hand, not only describe the different stages of human development in the womb but also emphasize the power and wisdom of the Creator in shaping each individual. The terminology used in these verses, such as clinging clot and lump of flesh, corresponds remarkably well with the stages of embryonic development recognized by modern science. Professor Keith Moore, who is a renowned anatomist, embryologist, an author who has made significant contributions to the fields of medical education and scientific research, said that the description of the fetus development in the Quran cannot be based upon the scientific knowledge of the 7th century. 5. Ants and the ability to talk and communicate. Until, when they came upon the valley of ants, an ant said, "O ants! Go into your nests, lest Solomon and his troops crush you without noticing." He smiled and laughed at her words, and said, "My Lord, direct me to be thankful for the blessings you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do good works that please you. And admit me, by your grace, into the company of your virtuous servants." According to recent studies, some ant species are able to communicate to each other using special sounds known as stridulatory signals. This form of acoustic communication plays a crucial role in intra-colony communication, enabling individuals to convey different messages depending on the context. For example, ants may use stridulatory signals to alert colony members to potential threats, coordinate foraging activities, recruit nestmates to food sources, or engage in courtship rituals. The modulation of sound patterns, intensity, and duration allows ants to communicate specific information effectively within their social groups. Ants have evolved stridulation as an adaptive mechanism to communicate in diverse environments and conditions. By utilizing sounds as a mode of communication, ants can transmit information efficiently in dark or crowded spaces where visual or chemical signals may be less effective. The ability to communicate through sounds enhances their survival and reproductive success as social insects. 6. Heart and the ability to reason. Have they not journeyed in the land, and had minds to reason with, or ears to listen with? It is not the eyes that go blind, but it is the hearts, within the chests, that go blind. Will they not ponder the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? According to the Quran, the heart is not just a physical organ responsible for pumping blood, but it is also an actual center of cognition, emotion, and spiritual awareness. It is where faith resides and where the light of God's guidance can illuminate the path for believers. The Quran mentions the importance of purifying the heart from negative traits such as arrogance, disbelief, and hypocrisy, in order to open it to divine guidance and wisdom. The ability of heart to reason is consistent with modern science research. Recent studies have shown that this vital organ has actually a complex network of neurons that enables it to communicate with the brain and influence cognitive processes. This network, known as the heart-brain connection, plays a role in emotional regulation, decision-making, and overall cognitive functions. It is proven now that heart can send signals to the brain which affect perception, memory, and reasoning. These signals can influence how we process information, make decisions, and respond to different situations. For example, when we experience emotions such as love or fear, the heart sends signals to the brain that can impact our cognitive functions. Moreover, studies have also found that the heart has a role in intuitive decision-making and can provide valuable insights that complement rational thinking. This suggests that the heart has a form of intelligence that goes beyond logical reasoning and can contribute to a more holistic approach to decision-making and problem-solving. 7. Formation of the clouds. It is He who sends the wind ahead of His mercy. Then, when they have gathered up heavy clouds, we drive them to a dead land, where we make water come down, and with it we bring out all kinds of fruits. Thus we bring out the dead, perhaps you will reflect. It is he who shows you the lightning, causing fear and hope. And he produces the heavy clouds. In ancient times, people believed that the clouds are light and fluffy. They were basing their perceptions upon just observations and speculations due to the primitive science at the time. This lack of understanding of the true composition of the clouds contribute to the perception that they were delicate and weightless. Even in more recent history, the idea of clouds being light persisted as a common perception, reinforced by artistic representations in paintings, literature, and folklore. Artists often depicted clouds as soft, billowy masses floating effortlessly in the sky, further perpetuating the image of clouds as weightless and airy. It wasn't until the scientific advancements of the 19th and 20th centuries that our understanding of clouds and their composition drastically changed. Through studies in meteorology and atmospheric science, scientists were able to unravel the mysteries of cloud formation, revealing that clouds are actually made up of tiny water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Today, we know that while clouds may appear light and fluffy from a distance, they actually have mass and can be quite heavy. Different types of clouds have varying densities and water content, with some clouds containing millions of tons of water. Those are just some examples of the scientific informations mentioned in the Quran. Though, it is important to make it clear that the Quran is not a book of science but a book of signs. It's a complete code of life and the final revelation to humanity. It provides guidance on religion practices, morality and social issues. At the same time, this scientific informations in the Quran give us a clear-cut indication that this book cannot be a production of a human being, let alone someone who lived in the 7th century in the middle of a desert, where science was the last thing people were thinking about at that time, but rather, it was delivered to us through Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last and final messenger to mankind.
أم يقولون تقوله بل لا يؤمنون فليأتوا بحديث مثله إن كانوا صادقين أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون أم خلقوا السماوات والأرض بل لا يوقنون أم عندهم خزائن ربك أم هم المسيطرون
إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها رفع سمكها فسواها وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها والجبال أرساها متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى يوم يتذكر الإنسان ما سعى وبرزت الجحيم لمن يرى فأما من طغى وآثر الحياة الدنيا فإن الجحيم هي المأوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى.